There's a lot of discussion about the shift that some of us are trying to make from an accommodations model to an accessibility model or universal design model in teaching, not tweaking of this practice or that practice, but beginning to think in really different ways about how we teach students and how we include as many students as possible in post-secondary education.
I think it's important for universities to create a culture of accessibility because there are so many people with brilliant thoughts and so many students with creative ideas, and a disability should not get in the way, or barriers should not get in the way of them bringing forward and expressing their ideas in different ways and in different formats. But it's about looking at your systems, your organization, and what barriers can we remove within our organization that make it just easier for someone to access our services and use our services. And if someone is living with a mental health issue, are they able to access the information and the material? Is the classroom welcoming? Is the professor open and friendly? Are there places someone can go to talk to someone?
At the core of accessible instruction is a focus on the kind of learning outcomes that we want students to achieve and not on the mechanisms whereby they achieve those outcomes. There's also a kind of philosophical and psychological barrier in that educators sometimes mistake strictness for intellectual rigor. There's an idea that if we allow students to learn in different ways, then somehow we're watering down the quality of the teaching and we're dumbing education down. I think this is mistaken. I mean, I don't think that there's any good evidence to suggest that taking 4 hours to write an exam rather than 3 hours to write an exam dumbs things down at all. On the contrary, it might well be considered as encouraging students to engage in deeper analysis and more careful work. We have to get past this idea that teaching in multiple modalities and teaching accessibly is a dumbing down. It simply isn't.
When you design your courses with accessibility or universal approaches in mind, you're going to benefit all learners in the classroom. You're going to benefit students from diverse backgrounds, students with disabilities, students who are mature students returning to school and are getting used to technology again.
One of the most effective ways of embracing change and getting people to be more comfortable with the ideas of adopting and advancing accessibility and inclusion for students with disabilities in universities is peer-to-peer dialogue. To talk to a colleague, ideally someone in your own field or discipline who's figured out how they adjusted, how he or she embraced the change and how it worked for them.
I think our next steps in terms of moving along this road that we're taking towards inclusion, towards accessibility, is really embedding it in the culture of our organizations, really making it second nature. We won't even start to think about this as being something different or something new or something unique. It will just be how we do business. It will be how we create our courses, how we build our websites, how we produce our documents, how we build our buildings. You know, looking at our whole organizational system, and it'll become second nature.
And the benefit's wonderful, because it wasn't just about disability. It's about making the entire culture of the university more aware, accessible, inclusive, values of equality and citizenship. This allows universities to connect to some of the best values we've always thought we were part of.